Welcome to the chairs, ReploidProductions.com, Reploid, YouTube, yada yada. Let's go around the group here. William Bush.
Shane McCree.
Seth Lovell.
Nick Bennett.
Okay. First, Seth, today in history. Or first off, what's today's date?
The 20th of July, sir.
Interesting. Today in history.
Christ.
Lay it on me.
Day in history, July 20th.
I actually know something that happened on this day.
Would it happen to have happened like 30 some odd years ago?
Where you at, Seth?
Well, see, the problem is this website is taking forever to load.
Guy! That's not history!
Of course it's not history.
You're not helping our situation at all!
This day in history, Seth fucked up again! Yeah! Round of applause! Keep going, guy!
Actually, as a matter of a technicality, if I am correct, this day in history, Bill came up with one of his favorite questions.
Butt cheese?
Why, yes. Yes, he did.
Actually, I think it was this day of history.
Though we can do an entire episode
On the question of butt cheese.
Nobody's gonna watch that episode.
I'm pretty sure there is something more important that I got, left in the dark about for an entire freaking week trying to rack my brain going, what the hell was world changing?
I know what it is.
You know what was world changing?
And I know
My fist in your face!
I know exactly what it is now.
what is it?
it's not
July 20th, it happens to be the day years ago that Bruce Lee died.
40 years ago today, he
Yep.
would be 72 years old. Bruce Lee died on July 20th.
1973.
And his impact quite literally changed the entire world.
I should have caught that because you were wearing the shirt.
I
I
wearing
told
a
you.
New Lee shirt.
Should have.
See, I told you. Although I figured Nick was going to be the one to figure it out, because I figured he'd be more awake than Shane was.
the thing
offense.
is, Nintendo's, the NES's 30th year anniversary is,
Famicom.
I think, sometime either
It was
within
actually-
the week of this week or last week.
It was actually.
So I thought it was something along that line. That's why I asked 30 years ago.
Bruce
I was
Lee,
10 years off and had a completely different
Bruce
idea.
Lee. Basically, we're going to go over a couple of the ideas, what you think, yada yada. I'd just like to say something because he's not just major in my life, he's been major in hundreds of thousands of millions of lives across the entire world. And he has literally changed so many things. There's even a country right now that I believe uses him as their symbol of independence.
That is awesome.
That's pretty
That is
freaking
awesome.
sweet.
There are like 4 or 5 statues of him erected in different parts of the world, including Japan,
And
of all places.
And he's Chinese.
Yes. And the Chinese actually I'm not trying to jump way too ahead of myself, but believe it or not, they shunned him for a long time. His movies were illegal in
China?
in Hong Kong and
Yep.
China for a long time. You couldn't own them. You couldn't watch
Yep.
them.
See, that actually kind of surprises me a bit because Hong Kong technically hasn't or didn't belong to the Chinese for 70-ish years. It was part of the, God, what was it? British.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Britain actually had control over Hong Kong. So it didn't even technically fall under Chinese rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the Chinese in general.
So for
Shunned
having
him
that
completely.
actually banned in Hong Kong, that's kind of bogus.
Well, yes and no. Part of the problem was the fact that his mother was actually half Chinese and half German. So because he was a quarter German, a lot of them did not like him because he had some Caucasian in his blood. So because of that, they were like, "Up yours!" And he was like, "Okay, you want to go?"
It's like you really want to fight
So where do we
with
start?
the man who killed Chuck
Well-
Norris in a movie.
We'll get to that in a
Where
minute.
do we start?
Well, we could always start off up at the top. You know, his actual birth name was Li Junfan, which, let's see here, it actually means return again. because his mother actually felt that he would come back to the U.S. where he was born.
And since you're so excited about it, what year was he born?
Well, he'd be, how old did you say?
1931,
But what year is that?
Year of the Dragon.
That's actually pretty sweet.
It's
yeah.
almost an ironic thing.
No,
Exactly.
31 was the year of the dragon.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I want to make sure.
Because in the Chinese zodiac, the reason why it is he became the dragon was because it was the year and the month of the dragon, which in Chinese culture is actually symbolized to be a major, massive good luck sign.
Irony!
Yeah.
But back in 1988, when I was born, that was the year of the Dragon.
Yeah.
So I was born in the year of the Dragon.
Yeah, I got dicked
There's
over.
nothing lucky about you.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I got dicked over. I got the year
That's
of the
okay.
rabbit.
That's okay. Yeah.
I think I'm a pig.
Yeah.
You
That's
are a
okay.
pig.
I was born in the year of the dragon as well, but my problem is I have stupid luck. If it does not matter, I'm winning. If it matters, I need $3 million. Please scratch off. Damn it,
Of
no!
course, he was
What
born
scratch
in
up are you
1931.
playing?
His dad was it was a pretty famous comedian actor, actually. Not just doing live action, but actual film movies. And it's the equivalent of a vaudeville show for what we're thinking. But that's he did a traveling show, which was the equivalent of a vaudeville show, and just happened to be here in America when Bruce was born.
Yep.
And
So he's technically American then.
he was
Yes.
guaranteed American from day one, just
Damn
because
it!
of that
If Bruce
incident.
Lee was alive, we could have had him as President Lee.
And not
That would
only-
have been sweet
not
because he
only
was
that,
a natural-born American
his
citizen.
Yeah.
his name is a little different too. It wasn't they did not decide on Bruce Lee. It was
Yeah.
given to him.
Yeah.
The
Hollywood?
nurse
No.
on
the
on
nurse,
call, wasn't it?
The English name Bruce is thought to have been given by the hospital attending physician, Dr. Mary Glover.
That's cool.
So they were no joke sitting there like, what do we name him? Well, why don't we call him June Fan? Why don't we call him, let's see, another one of his
He was
names
given
is
about
Cy
3 or
Fawn.
4 names.
One of them is, I'm gonna
Bruce
butcher
Lee,
this.
the man of many names.
No, one of them was actually Li Zilong, which actually means little dragon. But while they were trying to figure this out, the nurse goes, Bruce, can do.
No, it said attending physician. That was a doctor, not a
Well,
nurse.
true, but
He had a film career. As he moved through his film career, he did a couple things with his dad, and
So he did
actually-
comedy with his dad.
No, actually,
it's
his-
kind of he did some
Or is it-
serious movies. Okay,
So it's more like drama.
My Son Ah-Chun is one of the things that he did. Like, there's this point where this, it's kind of it's not silent, but it is a silent film. They
Yeah.
were still getting used to how much sound to add, really, like, not very many speaking. But there's a part where, like, his dad is eating this soup, and he's enjoying the crap out of it, and Bruce is starving. And he's, like, sitting there in the same scene, and he's kind of, like, staring at his dad eating the soup, and then he's looking at this other guy, and he's like,
yeah.
like little things like that, gesturing and whatnot. And then he actually, before he even hit his teens, he was doing bigger roles than his dad.
Yeah.
Like, he started becoming what you would refer to, in America at the time, we had a trend to do problem youth movies.
Yeah.
Like, this kid's bad. He runs with gangs, this and that. He's an orphan.
Yeah.
And Bruce
He's lived
started
in
a
a
So,
lot
so
of
it was,
all
it was
his
more
life.
along the lines of like those really bad 1950 movies of, this is little Timmy.
Oh,
Timmy
yeah.
hung out with the wrong crowd. Oh no, Timmy, they're using drugs. You know those are bad. Uh-oh. Timmy decided to use the drugs. Now he got ran over by a train.
Those things are
Moral
great.
of the story, don't run across train tracks while using drugs.
Those things are great.
Slightly yes, slightly no.
He did some
Anyway.
extreme youth problems. Like, there was one where he was an orphan child, and, like, he tries to... Like, essentially, this guy adopts him and his brother, and he beats his brother, so, like, Bruce tries to kill the guy.
Yeah.
And chases him with a knife and all different
Yeah.
kinds of crap. Like, And then he played some extreme roles, like more rival street gang type of roles, like almost getting into the gangster era of movies, where, of course, it wasn't exactly like that for them, but it was kind of where we were going, so they were kind of copying, following. But this actually started to impede on his real life. And Bruce was actually involved in street gangs. And he competed in what was known as rooftop battles, where Bruce would Bruce learned like one fighting art, and he claims that the practitioner of his first fighting art, the person that taught him, was his dad. He used that, became very competent, and began to run with these other guys about the same style. And he was essentially like, us. And they were like, oh no, this is our area, and this and that. And they really were rival street gangs. So basically, it was a time when every other kid could not just be on their own. They had to group themselves. If you were by yourself, you were getting your ass kicked.
Kind of like in high school. You know, we used to hang out in high school, so we didn't get our asses whooped.
Man, we owned that entryway of the high school.
Well,
no one walked through there
we own
without
that.
our knowledge.
We own the Pizza Hut. We own.
There's some rare scenes that you can find, home movies where they film him, and he was on rooftops fighting. This is in his teenage years, and he would fight these other guys, and he lost a fight. Pretty big fight. Got hurt. Got his ass kicked.
Dude actually threw him over a separator on the roof, and after he fell over, dude like started pounding on him.
Well, there goes what I thought. I never thought he lost a fight ever.
But
he lost one fight.
Because of this, he had to question himself. How manly was he? And why did this guy beat him? This guy beat him because he was fast and direct. Bruce Lee was not that fast, not that direct. More flashy, more traditional. Have to stand this way, have to move this way, have to attack this way. Traditional fighter. So who'd he go meet?
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
Ip Man was his next teacher. And I only found that out like a year or two ago when the movie came out, and I seen the movie, and it said...
I've noticed they really stress Ip Man lately. And then don't get me wrong, he was a badass dude, but... lately, they're really making a profitable movie line on just this one character, this one guy. And, well, not a character. He was a real man that fought for his independence.
Some people can be considered characters just because of how they act.
Right.
So,
but this guy, in general, his legacy, however you want to put it, is just now really coming to light. Ip Man was just a dude. He was just a dude. He never really brought attention to himself. He was never like, you know...
He was just a dude who happened to teach Bruce Lee how to whoop a little bit more ass.
Yeah, that was
he's
really
essentially...
all he was.
Yeah, essentially he's no more than like... He's like Master Roshi, but less pervy. To put it... You know what I mean? Like you know, just to put it on scale.
You never met the guy. I mean,
very true.
He's
but
like
you know
Master
what I mean?
Roshi, just less pervy. It's an impossibility!
As these rival street gangs grew, became more violent, he hurt somebody bad. I mean, he hurt somebody real bad.
Like hospital in a coma? Bad, or like
almost dead.
Every bone broken in body bad?
I want to say he almost punctured somebody's lungs.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say he did. He broke a dude's ribs so bad that it was like...
the ribs almost...
Oh my God, punctured his lung. That's terrible.
He caused some major damage, and it just so happened that this kid that he beat up was pretty damn important. Do you remember who he was the son of, or cousin of, or nephew? It was like, I want to say he was direct son of somebody.
he was. He was the direct son, but I can't remember exactly. I know he was a diplomat's son, but I can't remember whose.
He was like
I want to say it was like
that's not a good thing.
He was either the son of a German diplomat or the son of a Japanese diplomat, and either way, he had to GTFO.
His mom
beat the living bejesus out of a Japanese diplomat as a Chinese person. That is a terrible thing to happen.
His dad swayed in. His dad stepped in to sway attention. and his mom stood at trial for him for something. I can't remember. Some sort of a deal was made, and during this point in time, Bruce Lee, in order to go prove his citizenship,
in order to retain his citizenship as a U.S. citizen,
back to the U.S.
he took $100, hopped on a boat, and actually beelined it. Well, actually, it wouldn't be beeline because it'd be... Anyway, straight shot at it.
He sea-lined it.
Yeah.
He ran, essentially. He
Yeah.
was like, Bruce ain't going to prison.
Bruce ain't going to
Bruce Lee don't want to go prison. Bruce Lee run back home.
Now, he was during this time, he was not just a martial artist, he was an avid dancer and won competitions. And at the same time, he was interested in a couple different fields. One, he did Western-style boxing, and he was good. He was very, very good. He won Golden Gloves competitions in the Chinese circuit, like champion. Then he won champion cha-cha dancer. That's probably so I can't cha-cha.
You laugh.
Get out of here. That's
He
awesome.
was a
That is,
champion
if
cha-cha
you
dancer.
actually go back and watch a bunch of his movies, you can see where the footwork comes in.
No, that was from fencing. His brother was a fencer,
Yep.
and he took interest in fencing, and all of his footwork is taken from fencing technique.
Dancing also.
Where's the cha-cha come in?
But dancing, coordination and stuff.
Yeah, it helped with the
That's not
coordination
cha-cha
from
either. I don't even
fencing.
know what the cha-cha is. I'm just doing random shit.
But,
right
you
now.
know, dancing, it
We'll
sounds...
probably lace it in later. We'll find
But
cha-cha. and-
Actually, his
No,
cha-cha
actually,
dancing...
right about up here,
Yeah.
probably where this vacant spot is. He's gonna have like this little GIF image or something of like a little cha-cha dancer. Here, I'll set it up. There you go, right there.
Pop.
Put
There
the
it is.
cha-cha.
But that cha-cha dancing came in handy again,
Yep.
because before he left, there was a guy, really big kung fu instructor of the area, and dude didn't know how to dance. Bruce was like, "Let me cut a deal with you. I'll teach you cha-cha. You teach me kung fu," which over there is actually known as gung fu. Somehow we turned it into kung fu, and the rest of the world picked it up.
That's
like
Yeah,
because
I
we suck
think-
at translating.
Yeah, it's because we suck at translating and enunciation.
Yeah.
But what he gave this guy that deal, and the guy was like, "You know what? Okay," because the way he looked at it, a normal person takes 3 to 4 weeks to master a set of basic moves. Takes time to learn those patterns. Bruce Lee mastered it in like a couple hours, couple days.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 days. He was already at the master level with the dude, and the dude was like,
And the dude never even got the basic beat.
"Yeah,
The monkey.
yeah." He didn't even know
He
how
didn't even
to.
do the monkey right.
Yeah.
So he didn't even learn the basic beat, and he was already like, "Look, I got other stuff to do, man."
Yep, I already learned it. Sorry.
Bruce bolted, so that dude got screwed. He never even learned how to dance.
Oh, don't worry.
And then
Bruce
cha-cha
tried. There was
couldn't
no
have-
way to actually teach the guy.
Cha-cha
Man
also,
lacked rhythm.
But sir,
Cha-cha came in even more handy when he only had $100. Because on the boat, he was able to convince people that in America, we be dancing.
Yep.
No, I wasn't alive back then, of course. I don't know how many people was dancing.
technically, he was the very first cruise line director.
So he, he
No,
instructed-
seriously, he actually started the cruise line directing thing. If that's true.
He instructed cha-cha dancing on the boat over here
That's
to make more
boom.
money.
Yep.
That is boom.
This guy is like the closest thing to Superman we've ever had.
Just slightly. Just slightly. But then to make it better, once he got here to America, they landed in San Francisco. He was there, no joke, just long enough to take the money he had and shoot right for Seattle.
Right.
Because as soon as he had a second, he was gone and went up to Seattle.
Y'all, do you know how old he was when this was all occurring?
17?
Yeah, about
Because
17,
he had to
18.
get here to prove his citizenship, and he had to make it before he turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
On his 18th birthday, citizenship would have been voided.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, 17.
So, why Seattle? Is that where he was born? Or
No,
what?
that's just where he decided to go. He
I
ended
didn't know
up.
if there was like an
I don't know.
I
if there
wanna
was-
say
I don't
if-
know if there was a reason for that. I've
Yeah.
heard that he went to Seattle, but I'm not sure That was an idea.
I was about to
behind
say, if there was any reason for it, it might have been he had family up there. But regardless, all they really know is that he shot up to Seattle, and as soon as he got there, he got his first job doing the dishes and busting tables at a Chinese restaurant.
Do you remember the name of it?
I can't remember it.
You couldn't find
awesome.
No, but the restaurant that he was actually working at.
Powell.
Well,
How? But anyway,
Yeah.
the restaurant that he was working at, they actually had attic space above it.
So you just
And
rented
they
the
worked,
space?
yeah, they worked out a deal where he would work, and as long as he was working, he could stay up in the attic and live.
And then still get paid,
Was
I
it
hope.
that restaurant that he crossed fists?
I do believe so, yes.
Some incident happened. He somehow stepped on somebody's toes.
Literally or metaphorically?
So that this guy
Yeah, probably
decided
both.
that he was gonna rough up Bruce Lee.
Yeah, right.
So he was well. Nobody knew who he was at the time.
True,
he was a
but-
he was a skinny. He was a skinny, like 115-pound dishwasher in a back room
I probably
Yeah.
think the same
scrubbing
thing.
dishes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
And this dude came up on him like, "You crossed the line. It's throwdown time." So Bruce Lee threw down in the kitchen.
And Guy
When
went
he
down.
lost,
Lee or the other guy?
the other guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
He-
It's
the
like,
other-
you
the
come
other
into
guy-
my kitchen? Get out!
So he wrecked him, and it cost him his job.
Yep.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Because here's what's great about being, around back then. He got fired, right?
Right.
They paid him for the week.
2 weeks. He was still on a 2-week paycheck.
Oh, was he?
just like
Okay,
we
so
were.
yeah, so they paid him, they got him the 2-week paycheck.
Okay.
Then he got a severance check for the next 2 weeks that he would have worked.
This was common practice. Okay, like we're on a belayed check, right?
Right.
Our check from this week is actually from the last week that we worked.
Correct.
Now that's how they've covered severance today. Back then, you were paid if you got in and you only had one work day in that week. You got paid for that one work day. That was the end. They didn't care.
Yeah.
You were
Yep.
making what you did at the time you did it.
Yep.
Now at the end, if say random hamburger joint fires you, like for whatever reason, if Seth ate too many hamburgers while on duty, and they were like,
Sounds
"We
like
need to
it.
make profit,"
It's like, just give him money and kick him
I'll
out.
allow it.
Seems
so they get rid of Seth, and they take him. They're like, "Here's your week pay, and here's 2 weeks severance, which is a copy of the money you just made."
Thank you for paying me for almost a month for eating your food.
Right. And
Yes.
then when they give you that, the idea was that money should last you till you could find another job.
But I also got to think about how much
Yeah.
cheaper stuff was back then.
But this lady did him
Wow.
a real solid. I believe the person that owned the restaurant was a woman.
Yeah.
Right? It was a female,
Yeah.
like inherited
It,
from
it
her
was
husband or
Mrs.
something.
Somebody's restaurant. That's the only thing I know about.
All right.
That's the only thing I can remember.
She did him a solid even further. She knew that he was good at his job. And essentially, to both throw it in his face and make the boy think, she gave him 2 weeks pay, 2 weeks severance, then dropped about $500 of her own money from the cash register on the table and said, "This is a loan." He didn't know what to do with it, so essentially, from what I understand, he asked her, like, "What?" And she says, "Here's how it works. You take my money off the table today. Go do whatever you want. When the money's gone and you can't pay me back, come back here. I'll put you in the kitchen till you work off the loan.
And how much was he making?
By then, you'll no longer be young. You'll no longer be strong. You'll be nothing but a dishwasher, and I could always use a dishwasher."
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an insult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Don't worry.
but
She
look
was
at what he turned into, probably because of
That's-
that lady.
actually
that money
that's
was
because
a gateway. It was
Yep.
his lucky break.
Yep.
It put him through. It started his school.
Yep. Because from there he went on to the University of Washington, where he studied drama, philosophy. He also took a few art classes.
Okay.
He did poetry, and to top off the philosophy, he took Western philosophy, ancient philosophy, modern philosophy, and there was a fourth one, and I can't remember what the fourth
I
one
think it was like Greek or something.
Well,
I can't remember what
actually,
it
I
was.
have it right here.
It was obscure.
Yeah.
I would have figured like
what?
Are
Greek
you saying
philosophy
that
would
Greek
just be lumped in as
philosophy is
just
obscure?
philosophy.
You what?
You saying that Greek philosophy is obscure?
For us studying here in America, it's a little obscure to go out.
Well,
here.
Greek philosophy technically is the basis of philosophy.
Yeah.
So, in truth, every little bit of philosophy that you learn out of basic philosophy is Greek philosophy.
No ideas?
Nah, I got it here somewhere, but I can't quite find it.
I mean, we can't dwell
So
on it.
continue. As soon as I find
So
it,
like,
I'll bring
so
it back.
so I'm gonna go back to my statement. He's like Superman.
He majored in philosophy.
Yeah.
Of all the things you can major in, especially back then, or even by today's standards,
Oh, God,
if you
you-
were to go to school and major in philosophy and then go out to get a job,
They're gonna laugh at you for
Like-
majoring in philosophy.
essentially, I think one of the best things I've ever heard is actually from a movie. It's not a Bruce Lee movie, but it's a movie based on his life, and there's
Yeah.
one part where this person actually asks him, they're like, what can you do with a philosophy major? And he leans forward and he says, you could think deep thoughts about being unemployed.
It's
Yeah.
true.
That's an absolute
That's
perfect
about
statement.
that's about
Yes.
all that's good for. Is like, man,
Dude was awesome.
I am so unemployed. I will now ponder this for the next 16 hours of my waking life.
Well, it could always be like that episode of Family Guy where Peter's going through his lineage and he goes, well, you could always be like my great-great-uncle Seamus Griffin, who was a, great philosopher. Seamus, get a job. Why?
That was good. That was good.
That was a good one.
Why? No, but everything that man did, because I only know so much about the guy from what
Right.
I've learned from you, and before I met you, I knew he died.
That's actually something I'm gonna ask here is how people, but we're just moving through his life. And
Okay.
then I actually want to hear what you have to say about
Okay.
that. I am
That's cool.
interested. Moving from that point, okay, he meets Linda at the school, and he started running into some payment troubles. It was difficult to go to school and have like part-times and pay. So I believe he quit working, and he actually opened up his own private lessons, not like a school, but private lessons like I shake your hand, you hand me $30-something, I teach you punches, kicks, philosophy, I teach you to defend yourself.
That's
as
worth
the
it.
as the way he put it back then, or at the time, he was teaching, was it Wing Chun?
If I remember correctly, he was teaching bits of the Wing Chun, but mostly he was essentially teaching no more than your standard gung fu. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So he would teach you the little bits of karate, the little bits of judo, the little bits of all of it that come together that actually become
His philosophy
what it is.
was there, but there were some events that happened that changed him to create what he ends up creating. At this
Yep.
point in time, as it was referred to in the West as, how do I put this? As prejudiced as it could possibly sound, and for the time I guess they didn't know, but he taught Chinese boxing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it came from a Chinese man?
Yeah,
Yes, that's
pretty
the
much how
exact
it was
reason.
referenced.
Well, then again, back in those days,
it was still
they
around.
weren't even referred to as so-and-so guy. It was, the Chinaman.
Yeah,
Right.
his
Yeah, and
prejudice
that's
was
being
still around.
polite.
And that
I
was,
mean, you're
that
thinking-
was actually
You're thinking the era
polite
of
stuff.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, where they still have
Really
white men
crappy-
playing Oriental roles.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
right. Like they wouldn't even hire a Chinese guy to play a Chinese guy. They would hire a white guy and like paint him up a bit.
That's racist.
So I mean that's the
But
era
that was
he
the
living.
mentality.
Right,
you
but for
know.
back then, yeah.
That's sadly that's about how America's gone. You know, every time somebody new shows up, it's
They have to
hey,
earn their
fuck
way."
you. Kind of like back when we were in high school and we all had the "Go Home Freshman" chant. Yeah, it's
I
kinda
actually
like that.
missed that because I wasn't in that area. We were all prepping for doing pep band stuff for the rally.
Yeah,
So we of the band missed out on the go home
I wanted
freshman
to go
crowd.
home.
yeah, I know. So did I. Like
was
me
like,
and like three
fuck,
other
okay.
dudes stood
They
up.
didn't-
We're like, all right, see ya.
They didn't do that at my school because they would have said go home freshmen. It's like, later,
Later.
I'm out.
I know.
Yeah, but you had one hell of a walk though.
Yeah.
It was during that time, during his teaching, that he met Linda,
Yep.
the woman who would become his wife, and she was a student. Same concept, no contracts, no insurance. Shook a hand, give me money, I'll teach you to protect yourself.
I'll teach you how to whoop a little ass in case of
That was actually
emergency.
that was something I'm actually very curious on.
What's that?
Could she fight?
Yes.
Being married to
Yes.
Bruce Lee.
She was one of his fluent students,
Yeah.
and she stuck with him, and even still participated in classes even when he opened his schools.
Okay.
Yep.
So yes, she was an avid fighter.
So she actually knew some Jeet Kune Do then.
Yes, and
Yes.
even if you today, in a more modern, like, okay, if you can find documentaries and whatnot, she's an older lady, yes,
Yes.
But she could probably still move.
I was
Well,
about to say,
yeah, she
Grandma
still-
can still whoop an ass.
Grandma can whoop
no
that
offense
ass.
to
she
her.
still walks. She still walks like anybody else. Like, she doesn't seem slowed down. I haven't heard about major health concerns
Well,
or anything
she'd
like
be
that. She took care of herself.
early
and it was
70s
in
too
part
right
to
now,
what she
wouldn't
learned.
she?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was in part to what she learned. She doesn't look bad at all. She looks like she's maintained a good portion
Yeah.
of her
Do we
youth.
know?
She's in her
Yeah.
mid-70s, but she looks like
Well,
she's in her
hold on.
mid-40s,
Do
right?
we- do we
Something
know
I'd
like
say
that?
she's probably
Yeah.
looking in her 50s.
Yeah, I was
but-
about to say,
but
like,
she does
upper
look. She does
50s,
look like she's maintained
or
that
lower
youth
60s.
well.
But do we
Oh,
know
yeah.
what was their age gap? Like, how was he older or was she older?
Well, they were both in the same college, so I can't
Yeah.
imagine they were.
It was
separated
probably about a
too
year or
far
two
off.
difference.
Yeah,
You were too
maybe
off.
Sadly, that's
two, yeah.
as much as I've liked him and studied up on different portions of his life. I've never really paid much attention to his kids nor his wife.
Well,
Yeah.
we all know what happened to his son.
Brandon.
Yeah,
yes.
Brandon.
That's a
Yeah.
sad
Shame.
fucking. That's a sad thing,
It's an
man.
absolute
We'll
shame.
get, but we'll probably touch up on that once we get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway,
in college, I'm trying to think. Were there any other major areas? Or did we move past college?
we can essentially move past college because it was actually while he was in college was when he started up his schools.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
Yeah. I think it was on Linda's ideal.
Yeah.
The way she phrased it to him was the American way is a chain. And she'd referenced that one thing becomes many things, they take care of themselves after a certain point. And
I guess that kind of makes
No.
sense.
He
Like
got-
fast food.
since he basically
Make
Sweet
one,
fast
make another,
food.
make another.
he put himself through school,
First you get the
On
cheeseburger, then
But
you get the power.
when he started up his schools, it wasn't Jeet Kune Do, it was just teaching.
Teaching just
Yeah.
various
just
I have a
standard
question.
bits of
yeah.
martial
I have a
arts.
question.
Yeah.
I know that Wing Chun is a Chinese martial arts.
Yes.
Wasn't that like kind of looked down on for a Chinese, a person from China to teach a Chinese martial arts to a
Actually,
Western?
yes. You bring us to
Majorly.
the next
Actually,
point.
that's something we're coming up on.
Okay.
You could be killed
Yeah.
doing it.
Yes.
It was, he didn't realize he was crossing lines that were so extreme, but
Yeah.
at the time, the Chinese community in America essentially had this prospect that they were trying to rise up. We were in their way.
Yeah.
And
So you do not teach the enemy how to defend himself
Right. You-
from us.
You could teach-
from our own
Now,
moves.
he could take Chinese students, but rumors started flying around. Other teachers that basically came up to see his school and tried to offer him into this
Yeah.
guild, this collection of teachers,
Right.
were like, hey, we got this, we got this. If you come in, we help you, give money, we share profits, we help each other. We got to stay close-knit because of the way people are here. And then some people started figuring stuff out. They said, who's that? Who's who? And they're like, this black guy in your
That was actually
place.
a very terrible time for African American people too.
Actually, it
Yeah.
really was.
that was a
It's
very
sad.
It
terrible
was
time
It really
for
is sad, but it
everyone,
was.
yes.
everyone.
If you weren't white, you were pretty much looked down on.
Yep.
And it was all ignorant
Yeah, and
shit. back
Bruce
then.
was one of the few people that said, "You're black, you're white, you're a woman, you're Mexican. Come on in, I'm gonna teach
Yeah.
you."
Come on in, come on down.
We
to-
all believe- we
Come
all
on
believe-
down, Bruce's martial arts school.
The way he phrased it was, there's only one
All
family.
boards, half off.
He phrased it, there is only one
five.
family under the blue sky.
Yep.
The human race.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't believe in ethnicity. He didn't believe
Yeah.
in being typecasted, I guess
Yeah.
is how you
We're
could
all
put
a
it.
Yeah.
big, we're all a very, very big family.
Yeah.
So it
we
didn't matter.
We're
we
highly
are all human.
dysfunctional.
We just
If
happen
you
to
were
be
walking
different.
into his class, if you said, "I've seen a couple of things. I've watched some demonstrations. Nobody will teach me. Some people won't even let me in the door." And he says, "You're already in the door. Do you want to start your classes?"
Yep.
$30, you start today.
His classes reached an astronomical
Yeah.
for its time. We'll get to that too, but his price, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, after
what
he
was
got
allowed to
famous,
change.
Oh my God.
Regardless, I probably still would have paid it. I want.
When I give you the price, you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Well, you also have to figure out what the price was back
could.
then.
Yeah, about exactly. You nowadays could have. Back then.
Probably not. Man.
When we get to it, you'll. It's crazy.
Okay.
What he charged.
Yeah,
for his
they no
classes.
joke.
But he starts the classes. Was he out of college by the time the
Yeah,
issue happened?
he was already out of college. If I remember correctly, I think he had already started up his second school.
Okay,
back
yeah.
down in San Francisco, and this is actually where it took place, was in San Francisco.
That's where they found
I'm
it.
assuming
where they
they
figured it
closed
out.
the first school to go to the second.
They kept the
No.
first one going. He let his...
Some of
so
his
he
first-
taught someone well
his-
enough to
yes.
actually
Yes.
become an instructor.
His,
Okay.
his first student in the door, actually, the first man to ever walk in was a black man.
And so he
And
took over.
The
Yep.
guy essentially walked in and was like, "Can I
Can I
Can I
train?
come in
Hello?
here?" And he was like, "Come on in." And he was like, "Well, I'm interested, but most of you won't even let me in the door." And he's like, "You're already in. You ready?" And it was essentially, and I believe that guy, his like first student on is the guy that actually took over the first school. I don't know that for sure, but I think
Yeah,
it was.
if I remember correctly, yes, he was. He was the first one to take over the school. Because then after he created the second school, that's when the collection of the different teachers and whatnot, they decided that they were going to issue a challenge to Bruce, which was essentially put up or shut up.
What
you know?
they do, at the time it was real dangerous and you could literally get killed. They send this little boy to a shop with a note. The note essentially says, "Cease and desist immediately. You will disband all classes, shut down the school, or remove all ethnicity except for."
And Bruce was like,
And he went to meet them in of all the places. He had no fear. He marched into their like gambling ring.
Yeah.
Like they were sitting there playing cards
they're
on a
sitting in
table
the
one
gambling
night.
Oh, no,
den,
they
and Bruce
were-
kicks
no
in the
joke.
door,
No
goes,
joke.
"Sup?"
They have dollars and yen thrown on a table. They're all playing Mahjong like it's a poker game.
It was that type of concept.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
their
Yeah, I know you're
gambling
talking
den.
about.
Yeah, they were essentially in there playing bets, and he walked in and threw their paper down on their table, and he said, "What is this?" And they told him what it was, and he said, "Then let's do it.
Yep.
Let's
And
do the
it's
challenge."
fighting time.
It's
Let's
fight
do
time.
this.
Yeah.
And they got this really major guy that they thought basically couldn't be beat, and his orders essentially were disabling.
Yep.
He doesn't walk out.
Yeah, and
He
in
doesn't
fact,
teach
before
anybody.
before the fight, they actually closed down the first school and the second school. Now, not closed it down, but they said we're
Took a
taking
pause on
week's
classes.
we're taking a week's vacation because the guy that was running the first school came down to be Bruce's backup because in case he lost, he would the guy would have to drag Bruce's body away.
Yeah.
So it's no joke.
It wasn't
the
his
guy,
backup, it was his second.
essentially. So it's Bruce, the guy he's fighting, the
And
guy
his
that
wife.
ran the first school. His wife was there to be the witness on both sides and essentially try to be, impartial. And then one of the teachers from the collective showed up. Now, if you ask the guy that he fought and the teacher that was there, the fight took 25 to 30 minutes before Bruce knocked him down.
His wife, the student, and
And Bruce himself.
Bruce himself claimed that it was a 3.5 minute competition at most.
Yep.
It essentially happened, a couple kicks, Bruce Lee landed a couple hits, this dude realized he was outmatched, and Linda says in her book, in multiple conversations, interviews, and I think, collaborated by the witness that after this dude took a couple hits and realized he was gonna get that ass beat.
Yeah.
He ran from Bruce Lee.
Yes.
And how does it say how big this guy was?
And Bruce Lee had to chase the guy down, pin him to the ground, and take shots at him. And every shot was like, bam, do you give up? 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 And this dude finally was
20 minutes later,
like, oh my
bam!
God, with this. No more of this face punch in here.
Please stop. My face can't take anymore.
Would have only been better if you were like, bam, you give up. Oh, I knocked him out.
By their code,
Well, he would have won anyways. Then.
Right.
by their code, their honor dictated that he was allowed to make his decision. They were not allowed to step on him again.
Yep.
They tried to again, though, didn't they?
He said, I'm going to do it.
Yes and no.
But when he made that decision, he also made another decision. He told Linda privately in the study of their home that he was disappointed in himself. That all these years have amounted to nothing. That man should have went down in 60 seconds or less. The fact that he got away from me,
Yes.
the fact
Bruce
that I
was
could not
livid.
submit him means I have a problem.
Yep.
Jesus.
I must be better. He then began to study and keep medical journals of himself. Every day he ate something. It works like this. To put it into an equivalent for today.
Anything he did.
You eat a
in
cheeseburger right now. Okay, we just ate, right? You had the muffins things.
The cinnamon raisin biscuit things.
You would mark down that you ate cinnamon raisins today. You would then mark the time. Later on this day, as soon as you get hungry, you would mark the time that the energy that you got from it ran out. I am hungry at this time. He cataloged his own food and his own medical journal in his own body expectations. Because even though somebody could tell you, eat apples, eat this, eat that, do this,
Everybody's
diet and
body's
exercise,
different.
Everybody's
Yep,
different.
exactly.
And he knew this before. I mean, you're at the time that you're talking, Bruce Lee revolutionized so many things, and this is one of them that he did that at the time was unheard of. A normal guy would have been like, do some sit-ups. But Bruce Lee knew that he could look at 3 different people and say, you, and you do the same sit-ups every day. You don't look the same. Something is different.
Yeah.
So he kept track of every single thing he did. And that's where some of the physical fitness started. That's when he started training and studying isometric exercises. He had a different routine every day. He understood that the body needed to rest each day. But he also believed that we should never allow our muscles to suffer in atrophy. When we sit, we've wasted our potential. You sit down.
Which we're wasting now.
You sit down, you do curls, you do things like that. Every day he had a different thing. If he ran on the bike Monday, he worked on his arms Tuesday, he worked on his stomach Wednesday, that type of thing. And he always kept track of what he was doing. In fact, his forearms, you look at that man's forearms, they're unnatural.
Yep.
Well, if I can get the lights out of my face, I will stare at the Bruce Lee cutout.
They are
Yeah, those are
ridiculous.
pretty unnatural.
How
I'm
he
surprised
did
you didn't
that-
move him over here.
I
though.
thought about it, I really did. But,
That was
but
kind
you
of
didn't
what I
want
was
to give it
getting at
away.
earlier.
but what he did...
You and your stupid secrecy. You didn't want to give it away.
What
Yeah.
he did every morning, he would wake up, he would throw 100 punches. Then he would take a 2-pound weight and throw 100 punches. 4, 6, 8, 10. 8, 6, 4, 2, 3. Then he would catalog exactly what muscles felt used. He would design, blueprint his own exercise equipment
Jesus.
that was
Oh,
specifically
don't worry, you don't know the
detailed
best part.
to work those muscles. Like he created, and you see these in gyms today, but they didn't exist back then. He created a piece of equipment with a hand grip, with weights that could be placed on the bottom, so that he could grip to work his forearms.
You see him nowadays.
Yeah.
He created...
The isometrics, P90X. Ever heard of it?
Alright. I was in the Army during basic training. Guess what we did?
Isometrics. Uh-huh.
P90X.
He was one of the people that really pushed isometrics into the forefront. He was one of the people that said, "I know it works."
Here's actually a fun one.
And there are people today that'll tell you it doesn't work. He showed that it worked.
Yeah.
He had a bar on his front porch. Have you ever seen this picture?
Yep.
He had a chain and a bar on his front porch. And he would link this chain to the ground on a bolt, and then link it to the chain, and then he would like try to pull the roof up, essentially. He'd curl like this and just stand there for a whole minute pulling as hard as he could. Then he'd move the bar so that he could, for as long as he could, a whole minute. They're isometrics. You can do them with weights, like, okay, do your thing like when you're doing just reps. As soon as you lift up, hold for 30 seconds. Go down, hold for 30 seconds. Go up, hold for 30 seconds.
It takes a lot out of you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the people that pushed that to the forefront. He created the idea. He also introduced something that his friends were terrified of. They thought he was going to kill himself. He had a bowl of vitamins, a bowl of a soy type stuff,
Yeah.
a rice supplement, and his normal drink. We're hanging out. What are you drinking, Nick?
Dr. Pepper.
Okay,
Joke's on you. I got me some tea,
it's sweet.
which is joke on me.
I got a Starbucks
Frappe
cold
cappuccino.
coffee.
Sweet. I drank me some Powerade. You know what he drank? He
Yep.
bought a blender. High power blender.
Threw everything in there and went,
In his
no,
fridge, he would open his fridge and his friends thought he would kill himself. They were literally afraid for his health. He took a handful of raw red meat, put it in a blender, broke 3 eggs into that blender, poured milk, threw 2 vitamins in there, and then took some of that rice, some of that soy, blended it, and drank it.
Yep.
That
Nowadays,
That
you can
is
go.
the protein shake.
Yep. Nowadays,
They
you can
didn't
buy all that in
exist.
that's
one
actually
giant
pretty
jar.
sweet.
He had to make and invent the protein shake. You couldn't
Yep.
buy that back then. He created that.
well, that sounds extremely disgusting.
Yeah.
It probably was.
Don't worry. If he needed extra energy, instead of 3 eggs, he put in 6 eggs.
Nobody cares about salmonella. We just don't give a damn anymore.
Well,
No, see, Bruce Lee did one thing. If he probably started getting sick, he did what I told you to do earlier. He stopped it. He's like, oh man, I'm starting to get sick.
Actually,
I should stop that.
in one of the journals that I have, it's a collaboration of different people telling what all they remember about him. One guy, I think it was Coburn, actually
Wouldn't
said
surprise me, yeah.
he walked into Bruce Lee's office one day, found Bruce Lee holding a kickstance with a book on a stand. He was
Just
holding
reading?
a kickstand, and he had a weight in this arm, and he was curling and flipping the pages while a boxing match played on the television beside him.
yes.
Damn.
He
Yeah.
never, ever sat still. There was always something going on. If there were multiple things to do, he's like, I need to do it all
Yep.
right now.
This guy.
Oh,
This
don't worry.
man
While he
invented
would type-
multitasking.
While he would
Yes.
type out his books or his philosophies, his ideas, his notes that he kept, there's something called the Bruce Lee Library, where he kept hundreds of thousands of notes and notebooks. He would hook himself up to electrodes,
Yep.
and this was before.
Before it became a therapeutic thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
Exactly.
when I had surgery on this, I know exactly what it is.
All right,
It sucked.
Sweet.
Same thing
Because
Shane's
they-
got for his
They
back.
attach a couple
Yeah?
electrodes
You got
on.
something like that for your back too?
Yeah.
Oh, my therapeutic pillow is supposed to keep my head, neck, and spine cradled.
But you
No.
use the
Back when you had
No,
the
the
electrodes for your
When you
back,
pulled your
remember?
back
Oh,
out.
see. Oh, yes, I had a machine that I
You
put
could thank
on my.
Bruce
You-
Lee.
you had to
That
put
was-
the
that was one of the
electrodes,
things he
thank the
pioneered.
Lee
and then
man.
it would force your muscles to
I
actually
will go to
contract.
his,
That's
I will
actually
go
how
to
I
his
have some
grave and
function.
thank him
Yep.
for helping my back.
People do it every day.
Where's he buried at? I mean, I know we're probably going way so far ahead, but I'm
to
just,
go way the far ahead.
yeah, I'm just curious.
We'll
Warp
get to
ahead
that.
and then we'll rewind.
Okay.
Where?
We'll get to that.
But he actually, yeah, he was one of the people that did that. He would sit there and he would force his biceps, his arms, his stomach, upper pecs, and his side back while he was typing, just choo-choo, 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 just. I
And
need
while
to
he's
work out.
typing, he's watching Muhammad Ali in reverse because Muhammad Ali had a left-handed stance, so he had to watch it in reverse to get it for the right-handed stance.
Well, you mean mirrored?
No, I mean he would legit watch the film in reverse so he could study
He would
his
get
movement.
it. He would, being from a film background, he would get a hold of different things like the 16mm films.
Yeah.
And he would just cut them for himself the
Oh.
way he needed it.
Okay.
He would take everything essential that he's seen in a fight, cut the film to where he needed it, lace it for himself, and watch it. And like he said, Ali had this magic jab, but it wasn't. He wanted to see it the other way. So he would mirror.
Yeah, that's
The
what I
actual-
said. Mirror. You said
Yeah, he would mirror
reverse.
not
Or
play for
rewind or
mirror,
something.
but
yeah.
he would
He'd watch.
It's
yeah.
called mirror.
he would mirror the image
Yeah,
so
but
that he
they-
could watch
never
it
mind.
the other way.
Because when you say
I know, but
reverse
I'm
it,
used to watch.
I'm thinking rewind. It's like, why would he watch?
Take this.
Oh no, that hurts so bad.
I'm
It
used
just
to.
starts from this, it pulls back. Oh, that hurt you so bad, didn't it?
Oh,
You
another
pulling
piece
that
of
Actually,
exercise
basically,
equipment that was inspired by him. It looks really gay. Ever seen this?
Oh god, the shaking things.
He used to do it, but it was
Yep.
done in a different way. He had a bar that was on, it was connected to like a handle, and it could pivot back and forth, and on top was like a 10-pound weight. So it's already like holding a sword that goes tink, 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 and he would stand, and that 1-inch punch that had all that power, the way he developed it was he would punch with that from an inch away so that it would go clank, clink, 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 clink.
Well, that's way better than the hand
So,
job
so
thing we
now
got
I know.
Another
I now know how I
exercise.
can start learning how to do the 1-inch punch.
The
I just
one-
have to get one of those things.
There's
and
one
punch stuff
exercise.
from an inch away all day long.
There's one
Got it.
exercise he did that I advise nobody try.
Yeah.
How much? Who's comfortable with how much they weigh? Let's do that one. Okay, what do you weigh?
195.
Okay, you weigh 195.
Oh yeah, I would send you.
Here's what I want you to do. I'll even demonstrate it. He would stand perfectly up,
Okay.
okay? He would take a weight.
Okay.
You put 195 pounds on the weight.
Okay.
Do your stance, put it on your back.
Okay.
This is your exercise.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yep.
And watch as I
Screw
never get
that.
up again.
20 of them a day. Bruce Lee weighed 135 pounds.
It's much easier.
And he essentially
less
did a
weight.
sit-up with Bruce Lee on his back, standing up
Yep.
20 times a day.
You could be Superman.
Oh man,
And
you
you
would
can
be
master
so
it.
Yeah, I know.
screwed, guys.
332 pounds of awesome.
Seth would be like, "We're doomed." Except when he goes,
Actually-
"We're doomed," it would go through this floor and the floor underneath of it and impact the concrete of the basement.
Dude, he doesn't weigh tons.
Well,
Damn.
No.
However, don't
No,
worry.
that's also the weight and his weight going slam.
Yeah.
It will go
Yeah.
through this floor and the floor beneath it probably
But,
because the extra
Because of
height.
physics.
It is
yes.
600.
But-
Physics, it will go through
But-
these two floors.
Silencer! Because the shitty thing about this is the fact that one day he got a wild hair up his ass and said, I'm not going to do my stretches for the morning. And did it.
No,
Yes.
you do not work out without stretching.
It hurt him.
Terrible idea.
It hurt him bad. It's one of the most famous injuries in sportsman history. They told him he'd never walk or fight again.
That was how he jacked his back up.
Yep.
That's how it actually happened.
I ain't no. I'm
And
no
then
stranger
Bruce-
to a back injury.
Bruce
Yeah.
I
Lee's
know
like,
how
yeah,
bad
no
it
joke.
is.
Right.
and
However-
Bruce Lee's like,
Right.
They put
Never
him-
walk again.
They put him in a wheelchair, and they said, "You messed up. You will not fight again. Walking may be possible, but it's going to take a long time, and it won't be the same." And he told them, he said, "I will walk again, and my fighting career is not done."
You never tell him.
He
you
used
never
the-
tell.
you never tell
You
the
don't
man
tell Bruce
never.
Lee.
Never.
No. You tell him it's possible, and he'll be
Yeah,
like, "I'll show you it." It's like, "I'll show you."
It's exactly
It's
like you
easy.
said earlier.
Seems like
you'll
seems
never
like he
become
loved the
president.
challenge.
He worked on
Really?
handstands, taught himself how to walk upside down on his hands for everything you need to do around the house.
I actually seen a
Which
video of him
I'm
doing
trying
that.
I'm trying to
Seen that?
figure
yeah,
out
he walks around
if
the
he
house on his
jacked up his
hands.
back. Part of your arm muscles are attached to your back muscles too, aren't
He
they?
did that, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And he
strengthen
still,
it.
that was one of the things he decided that I'm not sure where his pattern of thinking came from, nor will I question it, but I know it was during that time that he needed to get out of that chair and it was difficult to walk. His hands were still usable.
Yep.
He's
And in
like,
fact,
"Well,
Rick
my
Owens-
legs
He
ain't
would
working
roam- he
too
would roam
happily."
around and play with Brandon like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you did show me like a clip of that because
Yeah.
they actually had clips of him doing that.
Yeah.
They got clips of him doing a lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, but
And
that
in-
was like
in
one of the
fact-
more memorable
Stuff
things.
that you're like,
But actually, written around the house, he had wrote "walk on" like everywhere, something like that, and it was to get himself motivated. So, and every day, he'd wake up, sit down in the chair, and go, "Right, walk," and
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I guess gotta keep doing this
He,
thing."
It was during that time also that because he was confined to the chair for a good course of time, he finally finished his book. It's very, very big book, Tao of Jeet Kune Do. This is where he finally finished the idea. The idea had been in his head for years and had been forced to the forefront when he couldn't beat that guy as fast as he said he could.
Yep.
And he said that the biggest reason it didn't work is because of fixed positions. He has to stand a certain way. He has to move a certain way. He has to punch a certain way. And he said, there's so many things that I don't do because they don't work. Why? And he started stripping away the essentials. He's like, he praised Western boxing for being the only fighting art on the known planet that says, go in, start fighting, dodge at close range, never move away. Other fighting arts tell you, draw them in, move them, stay away from them, strike from off distance. Boxing said you stand face to face.
and you
Get in
punch
as
each
close
other.
as you
And
can,
wham,
and you
inch
whack
away.
that dude in the face with the fist.
At an inch away, you must be fast enough to not only dodge their attack, but deliver your own in the exact same instant.
While keeping the footwork moving.
While keeping your footwork. He developed fencing, Western style footwork. That was where his foot movements came from, was those two things. Because up close, however fast you were, he would snake inside of you, and by the time he hit, you wouldn't even know what hit you. He could hit you from 5 feet away. He could stand where I'm standing, move, and swing his fist into your face and jump back before you had time to realize you'd been hit.
You know, that makes me wonder because how fast
There
he
are
was.
demonstrations, 1960s reels, isn't it?
yes, and they actually slow it down to like, what is it, 1/8 speed?
You still can't see it. There's a
Yeah.
guy that he tells straightforward, he's like, stop me. And he jumps into this punch, and he's standing a little further back than I am from you. And this guy can't do it, and he's like, I wasn't ready. And Bruce is like, that's fine. Now you're ready?
Try again.
Now you're ready? He does it again. Are you ready now? Does it again. Can you do it? He does it again. And the dude's
Was
like,
this
"Man."
supposed to be like an instructional video,
Yeah.
or was the
Yes.
dude
No,
talking
it was
shit?
real. It was real.
was
Everything
real.
he did
It was
was
no,
real.
no,
it was instruction. It was a martial
I
arts
was
demonstration.
because the way you're making it seems like Bruce Lee was being a cocky
No,
little bastard
this was
about
after,
it. I'm like,
this was
that doesn't
after,
sound right.
after they told him that he'd never walk,
Yeah,
and before he got his first deal.
yeah. Lee
Over
was
here.
Lee
He
even
went
at
there
one
and
point
said-
goes, "I'm gonna count down."
This
right?
is after
3,
he recovered.
2,
Yeah, this was
1,
after
here I
his
come.
recovery.
And dude
He
couldn't
had
do
what
it.
they called a Christmas tree back in bodybuilding.
Yep.
Christmas tree is when you can stand like this, and that starts down here and goes all the way up in that arc.
Yeah.
that was unheard of.
Yeah.
Did that? Did he
Everybody
always
else
have
was
that?
get
Or
as
did that
big
come
as
built
possible.
that.
Okay, I was wondering
After
like,
he was, yeah.
after he got hurt.
Yeah, from what I understand,
I got
his
a bad
workouts
back,
got
so-
even more extreme after he got hurt.
Yeah,
He's
'cause
like, that thing
started
jacked me
going-
up. What else might do it?
Yeah.
Because I
He-
think
he
I came
actually,
back
in that
1,000
demonstration-
times stronger.
In the demonstration that got him noticed majorly, he did that punch. He did a deal where he purposely went over and these two guys, like one guy grabs his shoulders, he grabs his shoulders, and he outdid this dude's footwork, tripping him all over the place. He does the one, they call it the one finger push-up. It's not actually, the pictures will make it look like it. It's a two finger. His thumb supports the weight for balance. And he puts this hand on his hip and does it with one hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it that way because the last time I tried a one finger push up,
Let me
it was
ask
a
you-
terrible idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can barely get a one handed push up though.
Right.
I don't have the
And those
balance.
suck.
I can't do it because I haven't figured out the balance thing.